A little bit of music to start to set the scene. And keep watching the screen because something may happen. Whoa. Any thoughts about where in the world we might be? Japan, says Tony. Yeah?
Kathmandu.
Tibet, says Frank. Yeah? The what? Where the werewolves come from? Well, I suppose they could come from anywhere, really. But Romania, I think. Yeah, that sort of way. Well, I shall give you the name of this creature. See if it rings any bells.
Russia?
You're like up in Syria.
Is that Bosnia?
Bosnia. I shall pronounce it for you. Yule Cat.
Yeah, it's Eastern Europe. No.
Eastern Europe. Maybe a bit further north.
Top of Finland.
Oh, Sylvia's moving in the right direction.
Oh, right.
Let me do it again.
Lapland.
Yule
Europe.
Cat. Yule Cat. So this bit is Yule.
Yeah.
Any ideas what that might translate as?
Jolly.
Yule.
Yuletide.
Yule.
Yule.
Yeah?
Or Jolly.
And curse.
Cat.
Yule Cat. Yule Cat. Here it comes. Yeah? The Yule Cat. Have you heard of the Yule Cat?
No.
The Yule Cat, or the legend associated with the Yule Cat, is the Yule Cat is really big and stalks the landscape at Christmas time. And if the Yule Cat looks in through your window and particularly espies small children who have not got new clothes for Christmas, so maybe, got like a threadbare jumper or something like that, the next time the Yule Cat, having seen it, the next time that child goes outside, the Yule Cat will hunt them down and gobble them up. Yeah, so see, it's got patches on his jumper and stuff. Yeah, so yeah, here you go. Here's another illustration. In this particular location, cats were not native. Yeah, and there is a, like kind of with many myths and legends, there is a basis in reality for the existence of this story. But over time, the Yule Cat has just got bigger and bigger in people's imagination. Until it is a really fearsome beast. Any other thoughts about where in the world we might be? Nobody's quite got it.
Is it sort of in the Finland or somewhere like that?
The further north you go is the closer you're getting. Yeah. Here is a clue. Do you recognise this young lady?
Yeah, she knew it.
Iceland.
Yeah. Chris has got it. We are in Iceland. Who is this? It's Bjork. Yeah? Bjork. I heard it round the room. Bjork, so good they named her twice. Yeah? Listen to Bjork, because it's from Bjork's song that I got the correct pronunciation of Yule Cat. So, here's a little bit of Icelandic. Oh, makes it perfectly clear, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Why would a story that involves such a terrible monster as the Yule Cat and such a terrible scenario as gobbling children, why would such a story exist? Yeah, we are in Iceland. Here's a map of Iceland that spotlights actually the volcanoes and the geysers. Do you want to hear the sound of an Icelandic geyser?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Go on.
Hello, darling. Now, traditional Icelandic costume. What's it made out of? There is embroidery on it. It's wool. It's wool.
Isn't it?
Well,
Now, wool. Now here's the thing. What is the largest native mammal on Iceland? Man. We are the largest native mammal on Iceland. Yeah? The next largest mammal is actually the Arctic fox. And an Arctic fox is, like smaller than a Labrador, really. Yeah? So sheep were introduced, but we're probably talking, like early AD when sheep were introduced. And that was where the whole wool industry came from. Traditional costume, yeah. They seem to like hats with tassels, although something peculiar has happened to this lady's hat. I think perhaps she sneezed a bit too strongly. But this is the reason for the existence of the story of the Yule Cat. Because, what are the temperatures like in Iceland?
very cool.
Very cold indeed. So, everybody really, historically, would have had to have been involved in the production of warm woolen clothing. And that means the whole of the community. So even the children can be involved in spinning or carding or weaving. So if you want the children to remain on task and not go running off and playing outside, the best thing really is to give them a very, very scary story that specifically relates to them not wearing brand new woolen clothes each Christmas in the middle of each kind of new winter. That's the reason for the existence of the story. Cats were not introduced to Iceland until the 9th century. But apparently, if you go to Reykjavik today, there are loads of cats on the streets. So historically, and really, the legend of the Yule Cat starts to appear around the 1600s. So around the 1600s, we're not talking a huge number of cats on Iceland. But, kind of like adults would be aware of them, but maybe children wouldn't be aware of them. So the the wool from the sheep, so sheep are kind of like revered, really. So there's not going to be a nasty sheep out there. But the cats are seen, they get rid of the rats and the mice, but they're seen as a little bit of a kind of scroungy creature in a way. So the cat is the target to kind of turn into a monster. But yeah, that's the reason for the story. Back in the day, Icelandic houses were wood and stone, but they had an extra layer of insulation. They turfed the roofs. So this is just moss and grass growing on the rooftops and down the walls, actually, on some of these. So it's got this extra layer of insulation on the top. It was chuffing cold, yeah? So, it was absolutely essential that everybody was involved in the production of, and as soon as I show you these, you'll think, oh yeah, there's an Icelandic jumper. Björk was wearing one of those rough woolen jumpers in that photograph I showed you early on.
I got an Icelandic jumper when we went to Iceland.
Yeah?
Yeah, I bought an Icelandic jumper at the gift shop, when you come away.
Right.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
So did you see any cats?
I didn't really notice the cat.
Yeah. So yeah, we are in Iceland. Still, what happens with myths and legends? They have a reason for existence. So we've got this whole notion of keeping the kids on task, if you like. But then over time, things change. There isn't a Father Christmas in Iceland. There are 13 of them. A whole football team. These are known as, it's like a boy band this, isn't it? These are known as the Yule Lads. Yeah? And if you look very closely at that cartoon, underneath the bench that they're sat on, you will see a cat. Yeah? And the Yule Cat, at some point, becomes associated with the Yule Lads. Now, just like in Grimm's tales, the very early version of Grimm's stories are very dark and very sinister. In their original form, the Yule Lads were very mischievous and would play naughty tricks. But in Iceland, what the children do to this day is put out a shoe on the window ledge, and if they've been good, the appropriate Yule Lad, because this all starts 13 days before Christmas. So that would be the 12th of December. So the first of the Yule, they come individually. Yeah. The first of the Yule Lads would visit on the 12th of December. And if the child of the household who's put their shoe out on the windowsill has been good, then a bar of chocolate might go in there. But if the child of the house has maybe been a little bit naughty, they'll have a rotten potato put in there. Yeah? Are you ready for this? The names of the Yule Lads. They are. So the first one to visit you on the 12th of December would be Sheepcoat Clod. Yeah? So there's a hint of wickedness there. Somebody who could run off with your sheep. You don't want that happening. Gully Gork. There are lots of dikes and things along roadsides in which the Gully Gork would lurk and then jump out at you and say, surprise, stuff like that. Yeah, he would come on the 13th of December. So you work your way through. Stubby, just a little one. Spoon Licker, this is the other thing, you see. This is the thing about myths and legends. They do relate to reality, and very often they're targeted at children. Don't you be leaving stuff in your bowl, or else Pot Scraper will come and have it. Make sure you eat all your porridge, yeah? Or Bowl Licker, or Door Slammer. Don't you be slamming that door, yeah? There'll be one of the Yule Lads come and take you away. Skier Gobbler. Yeah, see, it might be an innovation in yoghurt in this country, but it's been going forever in Iceland. Sausage Swiper. Window Peeper. This is an odd one. Door Sniffer. I'm not quite sure where that notion comes from. You know, you kind of get up in the morning, open it. Oh, what are you doing there? Yeah. Meat Hook. Yeah, because of course, in those wooden huts, they would hang the meat up to dry, to keep it, and salt it to keep it over the winter. And then finally, right up against Christmas Eve, you would have Candle Beggar. Yeah, because the light of the candle would have been the only light that you'd have had. The 13 Yule Lads. And so this notion of the Yule Curtain, the Yule Cat, and the Yule Lads comes together. But then there's an even older myth still. The oldest character in Icelandic myths is the mother of the Yule Lads. And perhaps the reason why they are so mischievous. Here's their mother. Are you ready? Don't have nightmares. Mum, I want to go out with my brothers and play football. Be no argument, would there? This is Gryla, who is the oldest kind of nastiest figure in Icelandic legends. What sort of creature is she? And this creature really exists in mythology throughout the Scandinavian countries. You find them in fjords and other such places. I'll show you another picture. This is Gryla with husband number 3. Don't ask what happened to the first 2. What sort of creature are they? Trolls, yeah? Or to be more specific, because Gryla is of course a lady, yeah? So therefore she must be a trollop. So Gryla is the mother of the 13 Yule Lads. And also, of course, Gryla is the one who has to feed the Yule Cat too. So Gryla's the one who goes down the supermarket and gets the cat food. As time goes on, what happens I suppose it's just as we get into the 20th century, in the 1930s, a new version of Icelandic folk tales was written. And it's at that point in this book in the 1930s that the Yule Lads start to look like Team Santa, if you like. And the Yule Cat, the Yule Cat, starts to become a little bit more friendly. The kind of the fairy tale gets a little bit sanitised. And you get imagery like that. Where this is a little bit more like Dick Whittington's cat, really, that, isn't there? But there are those who still cling on to the notion that the Yule Cat is big. The biggest cat that you'll ever see. I like this one. Look at that. Yeah. So, I mean, he's going to have a bit of trouble squinting through the windows, it would have to be said. But do big cats, and I'm not talking about lions and tigers, do big domestic moggies exist? You are not safe on the cable cars in Russia because you can be menaced by giant cats. Or this is a cheap way to keep the windows in the cable cars clean. This is Russian artist Andrei Sherbach, who is a photographic artist. And what he does is he plays around with scale. And one of his big themes was creating these giant cats. Like that. So of course he always has to include himself or another figure in the photograph to give you this notion of the gigantic scale of the cats. They're rather clever, those. Yeah. If you go to Iceland today, you can buy postcards and stuff of the Yule Cat, yeah? And they look like this. So what I'm about to show you is the completely sanitised version of the Yule Cat. But he hasn't quite given up his people nibbling ways. But you can see at any moment, just like a domestic moggy, he's going to drop that little chap and he'll be allowed to run off, and then he'll catch him with his paw and bring him back again, like cats do. So there's this very kind of cartoony side of it. But then also, I think this is rather lovely. This reminds me, do you know the French poster, Le Chat Noir? This is kind of the Icelandic equivalent. That's rather lovely, isn't it? The Yule Cat hugging a mountaintop, just with simple red, yellow and black. So, needless to say, what you're going to be drawing is a giant cat.